All right, so it's Friday and it's that time again. Kathy Oldman, Prairie Wife and Heels, joins us. And
good morning.
This should be a lively chat today.
It should.
Our discussion, which is something Roger and Frank came out of one of our discussions earlier this week, is does everyone deserve a second chance? And it's been generating quite a bit of comment on our pages.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a couple of common themes here. And one of them, of course, is the theme of forgiveness. And the other is about is forgiveness is one thing, but allowing the situation to happen again is another. And obviously, as Roger and I said earlier, there are times when there's not a second chance here. Ted Bundy is not second chance. There are certainly times where
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Things like that. So
couldn't you pick anybody extreme? I mean, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Bundy, Dahmer.
Well, there are lots of things.
Have your dates been that bad?
Well, the reason I say Jeffrey Dahmer is he was in Milwaukee, which is where I'm from, and actually during that whole entire situation, my sister lived like 2 blocks away from him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so anyway, just a little,
just one of those things. And we're not necessarily, we're talking about relationships like romantic relationships. That's one thing, but we're also talking about any other kind of relationships, whether it's a work relationship or a friendship relationship, where you may have been hurt, you may have been betrayed, you may have something else even worse may have happened to you, but do you give that person a second chance? So you came up with some statistics having to do with forgiveness.
Yeah, well, and I just really what I did is I just read a bunch of articles, which I have to be honest, so this topic, I feel like based on my own experience thinking about it and wanting to talk about it and looking at people's comments, just thinking about forgiveness and second chances brings up a lot of baggage, right? Like when we were talking about this is what we're going to talk about, I started, of course, reflecting on my life and times when I had to forgive or when I needed second chances. And it kind of just brings up a lot. And there's so many different situations. Susan, I think you summed it up when you said there's things that happen to you that someone does to you. There's something that happens to you family-wise. There's something that happens to those you love. And I think it's so situational is what I came up with, that it depends on what it is. But on the other hand, I always like to look at things with how would I want others to treat me?
Right.
So for me, I would have to say I generally err on the second chance. And here's a quote I found. Everyone deserves a second chance and maybe even a third chance because life is too complicated to get it right the first time. Uh-oh, Roger.
Well, and one of our commenters, and I didn't get on the sheet there, Kathy, but this said a lot of people have given me second chances. Yeah. Because we all make mistakes, and they've given me second chances, and I appreciate that. And hopefully people can learn from their mistakes. But I'm afraid I'm a little Irish, and I may
just a scotch.
I forgive, but I don't forget.
Yeah.
So one of the most freeing things that I've learned is that trying to hold on to a grudge or holding on to that sort of thing is sort of like drinking the poison yourself and expecting the other person to die from it. And one of the things that you learn about forgiveness is that if you can forgive that person for that and let it go, then it gets them out of your life. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're holding on to it, it's still part of your life.
Well, and as you're saying, it's the difference between forgiveness and a second chance.
Yeah.
Which gets back to the fool me once thing. The person I would have most to forgive is a gentleman who basically shafted several of us in a business. He's now the lieutenant governor of Texas. And it involved a lot of money. It's been very hard over the years to forgive the guy. I think I can probably do that, but would I go into business with him again? I don't think so. So, to me, that's the difference.
Right. And that's a very big
I can get over hating the guy. I can't get over not being rich, but I can get over hating the guy.
Well, and one of the quotes that I had, I'm trying to find it. I have like 3 pages and now I can't find it. But it was something about how you can forgive someone, of course, but it doesn't mean they have to be a part of your life any longer. And that's that second chance. And there was one on here, too, where it said some people apologize so they can do it again. You know what I mean? The authentic apology, which once again, that's a whole nother show. Plus, so something I have taught my kids, which this comes from being an education major with a minor in early childhood. A lot of times when someone apologizes, you say, oh, that's okay. Right?
Oh,
Right.
Okay. And especially as kids, we teach them to say, okay, if someone apologizes, give a hug, and now you guys go play together and be best friends. Right. But me, as a parent, as a teacher, what my children say, and I have so many people that comment on it, even my 2-year-old, 3-year-old says this, when someone does something and apologizes, my children, I have taught them to say, I accept your apology.
That's exactly what we do at our
Yeah.
house.
So
Yeah.
even my 2-year-old, when they're, one of my other kids does something and apologizes, she would say, I accept your apology, because it's not okay. It's not okay. What someone did to you, if it deserves an apology, what they did is not okay. And saying, I accept your apology means, okay, I get it, you're sorry, but it's not giving them permission to do it again.
And again, it's such a broad topic,
Right?
and it's so situational.
And the question is if you give someone a second chance, are you allowing them to, are you saying, that's what the whole thing is. Like you said, forgiveness and second chances are almost two my hands, I wish you guys could see my hands waving around here, are almost two completely different things.
Sure.
They really are. And the second chance, I don't know. I really do. I give people a lot of chances, but I got to tell you, when I write you out of the will, you're out of the will.
Yeah.
And God forbid you do something to my friend or my family. Do whatever you want to me, but if you have hurt my friend or one of my family members, can you guys hear the aggression in my voice? Once
No,
again,
I'm with that.
watch the video so you can see the hands waving. And my mom has commented several times about that. When you're out of the will, you're out of the will with me.
Forgive your enemies, but keep a list.
Well, and I don't. It's not even that. It's just I'm not gonna. No, you can't come back and do it again. I'm not going to be nice to you again. I'm not opening that door again. I gave you 13 chances, but when I'm done, I'm done.
Well, and it also depends on, what do you have invested in that relationship? I've had some best friend relationships that have gone sour, for one reason or another. I've felt like I've had wrong done to me in a big time way. But I cherished that relationship and it meant something to me. So over the course of time, either she would reach out to me or I would reach out to her and say, can we find a way to get over this and try again? And sometimes that has turned out really, really well, and sometimes not so much. So I'm sort of with you. I'll give second chances in some cases, in most cases, depending on the situation. But third, fourth, fifth, no. At some point it's toxic and you're just done with it.
So then how do you break up with your friends, right?
Yeah.
That's like a whole nother, so
That's another
Roger,
show.
You just disappear.
yeah, well, right? So do you just ghost them, right? Isn't that what the cool kids are saying now?
Yeah.
Ghosting them?
You're hip with the lingo,
or do
aren't you?
you-
Yeah.
Not bad for an almost 40 mother of 5.
please.
So something that Susan actually sent me this clip, but I had seen it before, and it was something that I have shared online. Is there's this? Why don't you give the background for this
Sure,
pastor?
sure.
And
She's-
before I read the quote.
Pastor Nadia Bowles-Webers, who has a church down in Colorado called the House for All Sinners and Saints, and wrote a book called Pastrix. And she is not your typical minister at all. I mean, she's a recovering addict. She's covered in tattoos. She's, got kind of radical. Her language can be vulgar. And
In the best way, though.
The clip, actually, that I sent to Kathy is called, well, I can't say the whole thing, but it's Forgive Buttholes. It's basically what it is. That's what
Censored
it's
version.
called. But it's really, really interesting, and it speaks a lot to what holding on to that anger can do to you.
And what she says is so I watched the video and typed up, but it says retaliation or holding on to anger doesn't actually combat evil. It feeds it. In the end, if we aren't careful, we can absorb the worst of our enemy. Forgiveness is actually a way of wielding bolt cutters and snapping the chain links. I refuse to be connected to you anymore. You are free, and free people laugh more, see beauty more than others, and are not easily offended. Free people aren't chained to resentment.
I love that quote.
Yeah, I think it's just really profound because, like you said, Susan, if you are upset with someone and you hang on to that, you're drinking your own poison. And let's be honest, at least in my life, most of the people that I'm mad at don't even know how badly they hurt me or how much they negatively impacted me.
Do you tell them?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of bad about that.
I'm kind of good about that myself.
I mean, come on, you guys know me. I'm Miss Susie Sunshine. Can you imagine me being like, if I do take the time to confront someone, it means how much they mean to me.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Again, situational.
Yeah. But the second chances, I'm a big second chancer, third chancer, fourth chancer. And a lot of that has to do with my own life experience because I have screwed up so much and unintentionally done things. And, especially when you're in college and you're so egocentric still and you just have no idea how your actions affect others. I'm a second chancer. I believe in it. Who doesn't love the underdog, right?
Right. Well, I want to read you a quote that has to do with this. One of my commenters on my page, Catherine, said, I believe it is situational. Everyone can earn a second chance. I do not think everyone necessarily deserves it, i.e. not a given, a guaranteed do-overs or a handout, but everyone can earn a second chance. There's also a big word that goes hand in hand with this, which is forgiveness. In order to preserve societal harmony, I think we all need to take that into consideration.
Well, and one of mine, Sabrina, she said, choosing to forgive someone who has hurt you doesn't mean you have to tolerate their behavior or you condone the behavior that hurt you. And I think that's huge because oftentimes that whole second chance, it's like you're giving them permission and saying what you did was okay. And I think we need to remove that thought from the second chance. No?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know when you think
Yes.
second chances,
Yes.
it's almost like you're saying, okay, what you did's okay, it's fine. But you're not. You're saying that person. You're giving the person. You're saying you are intrinsically good. So therefore, or I'm giving you a chance to show me you are. I don't know.
So you just screwed up this one time. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
And we aren't always defined. I mean, we are defined by our actions, but do we want to be?
So there's a lot of self-reflection that goes on then about who is this
Anyone
person
else
in my
feel like
life?
we
Is
need
it
to like
worth
go
it?
have a drink or something after
Yeah,
this
it's
one? This
literally-
is this was a hard one for me, really, because it brought up so much baggage thinking second chances.
And I will tell you, as I mentioned before, I am not overly adept at forgiveness for things when I feel like great harm has been done. You know, if great harm has been done to my family.
You're worse for family, right?
Right, with my family or to me or to someone that I love and care about. I hold on to that. And I'm, I go all Klingon. Revenge is a dish.
I'm
best
filing
served
this away,
cold,
Susan.
So,
I'm filing this away.
Well, and
I really
there's
have to
also
work on that.
there's also if the person involved is pretty unrepentant about what they did.
Right.
There's that.
Yeah.
That goes back to you could
The
earn
gentleman in my case, no doubt, he's a very ostentatiously religious guy. No doubt thinks he did nothing wrong. It was sort of like the mob. It wasn't personal. It was just business.
Yep, perspective.
And that makes it even harder when you hear protestations of great religious faith and so forth. So, yeah.
And don't you think too? There's a lot to be said for not reacting right away when something like this happens, especially in today's technology day. It is very
where you're
easy.
you're
You want
typing it and you have to go, okay,
yeah.
walk away
Once
from
again,
that.
you guys watch the video because I'm pretending to text on my phone while I was making that sound effect, so it makes sense. But like, you know what I mean? It just.
I always have to stand down for a while.
Yeah.
If I'm that angry,
Yeah.
and that's what I've taught my kids. If I'm that, because we've got a whole lot of Irish in our family.
Yeah.
If you're that angry, that is not the time to address it.
Right.
In,
Yeah.
in 99% of the cases.
But
Just-
also sometimes you get, so my husband very much is one of those people where he needs time to just go and process his thoughts when we are, not that we ever argue, but just in case we were to. And I had to learn to not take that as an insult because I want to just hash it out. Let's get this over with. Let's do this now so we can move on with the rest of our lives. I'm very much okay, come on, let's talk about this. And I had to learn that it wasn't him saying, I don't care, needing some time alone and not wanting to talk about it. It was him making the right choice for himself so he wouldn't say something he didn't mean.
Is this worth going to the wall for?
Right.
Yeah.
Is this a hill I want to die
And
on?
I think we have to understand that too in our interpersonal relationships. People are not always going to react to situations the way that we think they should because they're different people and it depends on the day and the time. And that whole second chance, I think, too, we want someone to instantly forgive us and give us that second chance. And maybe we need to step back and realize you can give someone a second chance, but you don't have to give it to them right away.
Right.
Like Roger was saying, you can let them prove to you that it's worth that investment in the relationship again.
And it's perfectly acceptable in my house to say, I am going to my room for a
Yes,
little while.
I
I'm
need
going
time.
outside to take a walk, you know, and leave it hang there
Yeah.
for everybody to just
Yeah.
take a breath and
Yeah.
calm down. about
Decompress.
it.
Because a lot of times I've learned if I just bite my tongue, I don't even remember what I'm upset about 3 hours later. Really. Like you get
You're not Irish, are
I
you?
say I'm German. I don't know if that's
I'm
better
that
or
too.
worse. German. But you know, it's that whole the heat of the moment thing and just stepping away. And I call it getting over myself. There's a lot of times where I need time to just get over myself.
Right.
You
I
know,
totally get it. And we're running out of time again. So can you believe it?
this was a deep one. Let's do
Yeah.
a lighthearted one next.
Okay, we'll think of
Talk about
something
cookies.
fun.
It was good though. Yeah.
Great
Great
cookies.
cookies.
Oh
by
yeah,
the
well
way.
the recipe is up on the blog. I brought salted caramel chocolate cookies for everybody today, and the recipe's on the blog, so you guys can make some this weekend for a loved one
Except
to
I
show
can't-
your forgiveness for something, right?
Except I can't do the news. The caramel stuck in my mouth.
Sorry, I
Teeth together.
should have thought that through there. Sorry about that.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels. We've done it again.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, see you next week.